8.8 out of 10 is what the Peaky Blinders was ranked on IMDb, and is probably my favourite TV series of all time. Whether it's the great acting, iconic clothes and styles, or intense storylines, Peaky Blinders has captured the hearts of millions across the world. But what is it that makes this series stand out? Today I'm going to be diving into why Peaky Blinders is not just a great show, but one of the best TV series ever made. There are lots of reasons what makes this season such a masterpiece, but today we'll be breaking down just a few of my top reasons why I and others love this series. Point 1 is Tommy Shelby. Let's dive into the man of the centre of it all. Tommy Shelby is arguably one of the most compelling protagonists ever created for television. What makes him stand out isn't just his leadership or cunning, it's the sheer complexity and relatability of his character. Tommy's a war hero who carries deep psychological scars from World War I. His PTSD and constant battles with his inner demons make him a very layered and driven figure. On the surface, he's cold and calculating and always a step ahead of his enemies, but beneath that exterior, he's very vulnerable and conflicted. His thirst for power is driven by his desire to protect his family, but it also alienates him from the very people he loves. This duality is what keeps us hooked. We're constantly torn between admiring his brilliance and feeling uneasy about his compromises he makes. Cillian Murphy's performance brings Tommy's inner turmoil to life in a way that makes you root for him, even when you probably shouldn't. The second point is the villains. Tommy and the Shelby family are great characters, but what makes them so well is the fact that they face off against equally as great villains. One thing Peaky Blinders does exceptionally well is creating villains who are just as captivating as the protagonists. Whether it's the relentless Inspector Campbell, the Italian mobster Luca Changretta, or the nationalist politician Oswald Mosley, each antagonist feels uniquely dangerous and presents a different kind of threat for Tommy and the Shelbys to deal with. What makes his villains so effective is that they're not just one-dimensional, they're driven by their own complex motives, whether that's revenge, power, or even political gain. For instance, Inspector Campbell isn't just out to catch criminals. He has a personal vendetta against Tommy, which makes every interaction between them very intense. Similar, Luca Changetta's vendetta is deeply personal, and his relentless pursuit of revenge keeps the entire 5th season in a state of suspense. Each villain challenges Tommy in new ways, pushing him to his limits and forcing him to make impossible decisions. They're not just your standard villain or bad guy, they're fully fleshed out characters who make you question if Tommy could really even beat them. Not to mention the actors behind some of these villains and their performances. A personal favourite of mine is Sam Claflin's Oswald Mosley. Another reason why I think the series is so well is the storytelling. From the very first episode, Peaky Blinders hooks you with its rich narrative. The show is set in post-World War I Birmingham, but isn't just about gangsters, it's about survival, family, loyalty, politics, and various other things. Each season is masterfully crafted, balancing slow burn tension with explosive moments and violence. The plot is very tight, with story arcs that keep you guessing, whether it's the political intrigue, family drama, or international conflict. The writing also blends historical events with fictional drama, and mixes people like Winston Churchill, who is obviously a real figure, that works alongside the Shelby family, making you feel like you're watching some alternative history. To have this kind of storytelling jam-packed in 6 seasons of 6 episodes each is done really well and makes every single episode stand out. The show never shies away from taking risks. You see across the seasons and the episodes how it constantly evolves, introducing new conflicts, new characters, and fresh challenges. Another point which makes this series so good is the cinematography and the general style of the show. Visually, the show is a masterpiece. The creators of Peaky Blinders didn't just want to tell a story, they wanted to bring you into Birmingham in the 1920s. And in my opinion, I think they do this through great cinematography and videography. One thing that's really iconic about the show is their fashion. The tailored suits, the flat caps with the razors in, and the famous overcoats. The costumes and the clothes are very much part of the show and the characters, and it gives you a good feel for what the characters were like. You even have people in real life refer to things as the Peaky Blinders style coat, Peaky Blinders style cap. And these were things that were around before the show, but it's goes to show how well these things worked in the show and made them more popular after. Not just that, but the cinematography across the show is really good. There's lots of great shots, whether it's slow motion shots or dramatic close-ups. It's almost got a cinematography style of a movie to an extent, so when you're watching the seasons, it essentially is filmed like long movies. Another thing which stands out is the soundtrack. The show's music is another key reason why it stands out from a lot of other shows. You wouldn't expect modern rock and roll to fit a period drama set in the 1920s, but it really works. Songs from artists like Nick Cave, Arctic Monkeys and PJ Harvey really complement the show and match the show's intensities. These modern gritty sound blend seamlessly with the old world setting, enhancing the mood and atmosphere in many ways. It's like the music was handpicked for every emotional beat, from Tommy lighting a cigarette to an all-out gang fight. So why is the Peaky Blinders the best series? Well, there's a lot of reasons, but in my opinion, it's the perfect blend of style and substance and storytelling, from unforgettable characters, specifically Tommy Shelby, that are not only unique, but are very complex and have different layers. And they managed to show all this in a period of just 36 episodes, which might seem like a lot, but in comparison to other popular series, such as Game of Thrones, when they have a lot more episodes and seasons, you really get a deep dive into these characters. Let me know what you think of the show, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and feel free to leave a comment about your thoughts on anything to do with the show, such as characters or storylines. We are expecting the Peaky Blinders movie in 2025, which I am really looking forward to. And thank you for watching.